Hello to you, John again. This part of the Grasp Bird's Tail, Grasp Sparrow's Tail playlist. Sorry about that, a little wonky, didn't realize. I kind of want to expand a little bit on talking about and thinking about and beginning to train in for, again, what might arguably be the most or one of the kind of two most really important Jing or energy expressions in with Taiji. The 8 energies and Peng. You're going to hear me talk about Peng a lot. I love Peng. Peng's fun. Peng's my personal friend. And it's, I think, something that really needs, a lot of examination with it. So what I'm going to kind of just review a little bit and give you a look at and some encouragement with is the Zhan Zhuang sort of standing post posture. One of the things it's been called as well, I've seen or heard, has been like 2 hands hold the tree. A lot of the times, if you do any research, you're looking at like Chen style stuff or anything like that, you'll see people holding this all the time in some variation. It's in there with the Yi Chuan postures. And I learned it way long ago. At first, I really wish, this is one of the things, as well as sitting meditation, but this is one of the things I really wish I would have done more of, either encouraged to do more of, or had the impetus to do more of, or maybe just sort of slowed my own, sort of like, oh, I want that, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to do that. Because I think it's dreadfully important. And if I was only allowed to do one thing, it was like, all right, you can either do Qigong or Taiji, or it's one thing, just one thing ever, and that includes the sitting in with that too. I would do this standing meditation. This would be the one thing that I would try and continue to do if I was never allowed to do anything else. If they were talking about, an actual posture or anything like that, honestly, like I said, it'd be Grasp Bird's Tail. But even stripping that down further, it would be this Zhan Zhuang. Sorry. So it is, I was going to kind of show you waist up first. I can describe to you the legs. It's a little bit easier just to kind of show the upper body a little bit more. Now again, with this I'm going to start feet shoulder width apart, feet parallel, knees over, slightly bent. So you have a good base. I'm not leaning back. I'm not squatting forward. Tailbone drawn in, shoulders over the hips. Head up, chin in, tongue behind the teeth at the roof of the mouth. I believe we've talked about that. I know we've done breathing stuff, so I know I've put it in with that. One of the ways that's helped me to kind of think about this, yeah, you can think, oh, tree hugging sort of thing with that, but what we talked about from the books that I showed, the idea of the boat being held up by water. With internals, you almost kind of want that weeble wobble thing. You want to feel heavier below the dantian and lighter above. Other way around, you can lose your balance, teeter over. So you want the heavier lower. I know it's probably a little weird, a little too close. And this is one of the things that helps that. Really helps develop rooting. I had one friend of mine, he started training in, we started showing him push hands, and we were on the 2nd floor of a building, and he said, you feel like you're 6 feet in the ground, like staked into the ground, because you started to have rooting. And I really started feeling rooting because of this. It really started clicking. I'm not saying I'm great at it, I'm not saying perfect, I'm not saying I'm impervious, or I can do what Zhan Zhuang does with like fighting the wrestlers and the little yin-yang symbol without getting pushed. Not saying I can do any of that. My rooting has improved significantly from this training. My feeling internally has improved significantly because of standing training. My ability to feel the Jing, the energies, have improved significantly because of this training. There's a pattern. So with keeping that there, I always start when I breathe in And we're going to do like the Tai Chi, the moving, the standing breathing. So we're going to breathe in, pull the dantian into the tailbone, exhale and push it forward. So that postnatal, breathe in, pull in, exhale, push out. That's the breathing we're going to use for this. So when I bring my arms up, as I breathe in, I don't really want to be here. This is a different posture. You can consider this, and there might be some that consider this an alternate. I've also seen things like here. But I consider this a different posture. I've seen this as a different posture than what I'm showing. Not saying it's any worse. From my understanding, what I've been told is that having this here like this actually helps increase the understanding and the feeling with Peng. But so does this. And this actually has a little bit more of an expansive and seems to me to be a little more versatile. That's just me. So again, we don't want to have that distance between the arm and the body collapsed. So that's got to expand. It's going to be a little bit more than the fist width. If we're here, we're still going to have that fist width. Comfortable. Out here, not so much. Now look, my elbows and my wrists aren't directly even. They're just a little bit lower. They're directly even. I can start feeling too much tension into those deltoids. And again, when there's tension into some of those muscles, that starts separating those areas off from the whole. So we want to still complete the whole and have this in. Now, you can play out. I like playing in. So palms in, fingers are facing each other, and you want to try and keep this from coming in or separating out too much, unless you're playing this, which is a variation. But this is the sort of base standing post, two hands hold the tree posture. And again, you can see my wrists are slightly above my elbows, palms in, fingers towards each other, fingers kind of parallel to the ground. And you sit into it. Now, one of the cool things about this is that it really teaches you how to start to relax, especially the shoulders. You hold that for a couple of minutes and your shoulders aren't relaxed, you're either going to relax them or it's going to just suck. And honestly, I'm not one that will just, and part of that might just be because of the students I'm going to get in America in the 21st century aren't going to be like, all right, well, no, you're going to stand in this for 20 minutes at least. And we're not going to do anything until you can do that without taking a break. And boom, there you go. That's what we're training. That's your hour. Maybe you can stretch or something with us, and then that's what you can't do that in this day and age. I wouldn't do that in this day and age. So you can start, give yourself 2 minutes on, 30 seconds off, 2 minutes on, 30 seconds off, go up to maybe like 4 minutes and start gaining as you go. But as you can see from here, look at that. Nice circle. Now one of the things with that, a little trick, is right in here. Right in here is your friend. Now, as a guy, as a man, born in the 20th century, 21st century America, with a very polluted, diseased idea of masculinity and manhood, even before I started weightlifting, I was walking around like this. And you get that puffed up bird. What? You think, put your chest out, shoulders back. That's manly, right? That's tough. That's badass, yeah? It's crap. It does you more harm than good. It's stressful. It's building in tension. It's teaching you to hold in stress and tension, let alone the wrong places. This is teaching you to hold in stress and tension. Not only that, we're going to talk about energy, we're going to talk about breath. It traps everything up here. You can't sink. So it's no wonder that people have so many problems with their heart, and even with asthma and their lungs, and then anxiety, because it's all coming up here. So you have all that energy, all that blood, all that breath can't get through the body the way it's supposed to. So it all gets trapped up here and starts around with the system. You want it to get it to sink. This is the origin of, in my experience, I'm going to put that out there in my experience. When you read like the Taiji classics or the 10 points from Yang Chen Fu, they're talking about collapse the chest and raise the back. Now, again, they don't want you to be that sort of old babushka lady with the newspapers in her house hunched over like this. You might think, well, my chest is collapsed and my back is lifted. This is messed up. This is just messed up. It's not what they mean. What they mean is instead of here, here. So there's a little curve from shoulder to shoulder across the chest. And the back is out and straight. The spine isn't pushing forward, but you're able to get that, your spine's supposed to kind of have that. So you come out of the cervical's the neck, the thoracic vertebrae, that first half before you get to the lumbar and sacral, is supposed to kind of have that little loop in it. That's your raise. Now, even if we're talking about with Yang style, when we transition with Fair Maiden works at shuttles, in here, there's that big arms bit, right? We go Bagua. Cheng style has this. Sun style has this. Now, watch. Do you notice anything here with my elbows? Where are my elbows? Where are my elbows? They're a little forward, right? Well, why can't I just hold them out here? Bringing my elbows forward, that's uncomfortable. That's weird. But what it does is that it allows this to relax. It creates that curve across the clavicle, the collarbones, from deltoid to deltoid, relaxes this little lung point in through here. That's should have done that. Nice little lung point, gets that to relax. So this is what this is. A lot of people are going to start like this. Their shoulders are up by their ears. They're holding onto this. After like 30 seconds, they're freaking out and they can't do it. Those shoulders drop. This relaxes in here. You want that curve. And the curve just isn't in here with my arms. The curve continues across the top of the chest. That will help that heaviness sink to the dantian and below. And when it does that and your legs are aligned and you can feel your feet through the ground, you can almost rest your upper body on that feeling, that neutralizing feeling into the ground. And that will enable you to hold the posture more correctly and for a longer amount of time. So I highly, highly encourage practicing this. Zhan Zhuang, again, you can see feet about shoulder width apart, feet parallel, knees out over the toes. If I were to crouch down, they're coming out over the toes. I'm not in, not too far out, nice and lined up. When I bend, with my back straight, hips, tailbone tucked in, I should feel, okay, yeah, if I'm bending more, yeah, there's going to be some stress on the muscle. But you should be able to feel the pressure through your feet into the ground. I'm big on that alignment. You're going to hear me do it all the time. So, back nice and straight, shoulders over the hips, head up, chin in, tongue behind the teeth at the roof of your mouth. I'm going to breathe in. Settle in. I only have a little bit of a bend in the knee, so I'm not locking. And I'm holding this in. I like to close my eyes. And one of the reasons I like to close my eyes is because I have super dry eyes. See? Super dry eyes. And bad sinuses, and part of my face is kind of collapsing a little bit. Allergies and the like. So it's much easier for me to close my eyes. Now, for the legs. If you didn't already know this, the reason you don't lock your knees is because you will constrict the blood flow. You constrict the blood flow circulating through the legs. It's not going to get up to the head correctly, and you'll pass out. I'm dead serious. This isn't something I've heard of or read of, or it's some urban myth. I've seen it. I was in junior ROTC for a couple years in high school and had to do like a couple hours worth of, standing at attention and all that. And they told you, don't lock your knees. But everyone's trying, especially since we're 14, 15, 16-year-old boys, most of us. There is a multitude of women there, or teenage girls, or whatever you wanted to call them, whatever's appropriate for it. But I know from my experience, you get the guys with the crap, and I want to do right, and you can't breathe, and you're doing this. And it was a naval junior ROTC, so when we had the dress inspections, the black jackets and the white hats, you got, couple hundred teenagers, black jackets and white hats, all trying to stand here like this, and you really start noticing those white hats doing one of these, and then come down. I've seen it. It's creepy. It's not as creepy as watching someone get choked out or a really good knockout, but it's still kind of creepy, because you can actually see the consciousness just sort of go, and the person kind of going too. So don't lock your knees, please. All this stuff, even if we're talking about it in terms of fighting, is about preservation. We want to preserve your health, your sanity, your interactions with other people, your safety. So preserve your safety, don't lock your knees, but keep your knees over your toes. Keep your knees over your feet. Yeah, and it will also help your hamstrings and your quadriceps from be able to sustain longer too, because again, you're using the architecture of your body correctly, so that will help you be able to have a more fruitful and sustained sort of session in your meditation with that. And it will help practice as you go and do things, even now with the moving postures as well. Keeping that posture and everything nice and relaxed will also help your sitting. Real quick point in terms of the polarity of the body. If we're lying down, there's no polarity of the body. If we're talking about chi is like a bioenergy. There's no polarity in the body. When you're standing up, there's really big polarity in the body. You got your feet down there and your head up here. So the energy, it's really good for you start gathering it. It's gathering, it's pumping in there. There's some refinement going on in there. It's getting to things, stuff's opening up. You're like powering up. So it's if this is a scale model of my body, boom, boom, boom. These are my feet down here. This is my head. Energy's boom, 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 really pumping through the whole body system. For sitting, so this is the polarity. This is my head. This is my perineum. It's much smaller, but it's not flat like lying down. But sitting then will help you refine that energy. You still have the polarity of energy. There's still, a greater polarity than lying down, but it's more for fine tuning. So that's why I recommend all three, because the lying down can really help you kind of just be able to just get the body to release tension. You start kind of focusing a little bit more on the breathing, a little bit more on the actual focusing, without having to worry about any of that other stuff. It kind of removes some distractions. But the sitting really helps you refine a lot of that too. And in conjunction with everything you're powering up with the standing, it's good to go. So, like, share, subscribe, all that good YouTube-y stuff. We will be back with other things on this playlist and others. Latest.